You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss. Estás entrado al fantasía fútbol novelas. Espera con el patrón. Smitty is live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Get on-demand one-on-one text advice with Smitty at thefantasyfootballshow.com.
You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss. Estás entrado al fantasía fútbol novelas. Espera con el patrón.
Get on-demand one-on-one text advice with Smitty at thefantasyfootballshow.com.
You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss. Estás entrado al fantasía fútbol novelas. Espera con el patrón. Smitty is live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. You are about to enter the fantasy football show. Please stand by like a boss. Estás entrado al fantasía fútbol novelas. Espera con el patrón.
Live from the fantasyfootballshow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
What's going on, everybody? I have Tony, the attorney, on the phone right now. We're going to jump right into it because his time is precious. I don't even know if I'm being charged by the minute here, but Tony, appreciate you coming on the show, pal.
Yeah, you bet, Smitty. Happy to join you.
So Tony is an attorney in Ohio, and he's going to give his opinion based on the knowledge he has, and just as an individual that has great insight on such situations. And Tony, the one thing I wanted to ask you today, I don't really want to get into some of the stuff that has already been talked about and beat like a dead horse, but the one question I have is, what happens if something else comes up, another case ends up popping up? Because there are potentially 66 to 100 is the reported number of individuals that are involved in this. And my thinking is this attorney is probably still trying to get people to come forward all the time, I imagine, in a civil suit like this. What happens if another case comes forward? A lot of people think this is just some blanket decision that's been made by the NFL. It covers all-encompassing situations, but I would think it doesn't. I would think that every single individual case, because it's not a class action, it's a situation where every case is different evidence. What happens if something comes up, let's say, in your opinion?
Well, let's kind of build the scaffold here of exactly what it is that we're talking about. First of all, let's separate NFL disciplinary action from civil lawsuit. They're two different things. And I think the headline that you're kind of trying to get to, Smitty, is, can we presume that 6 games is the end of the discussion with regard to Deshaun Watson's suspension? And I don't think there's any question. The headline here is we can't know definitively at this point. It's just too indeterminate. First of all, with regard to NFL discipline, I would presume, I don't know this because obviously I wasn't in the room, but you have to presume that Watson's attorneys are smart enough to know that the safest course is to lay out effectively the names, dates, and incidents of every single person who might be making a claim. And if they already did that to the NFL, in my opinion, it would be difficult for the NFL to argue that further disciplinary action is warranted. Now, that's presuming that Watson's camp was smart enough to do that. My guess is that they were. Of course, that presumes that Watson was being entirely truthful with his attorneys and his other advisors. I can't answer that. Who knows? If, on the other hand, there's even a single person that was not disclosed by Watson's camp to the NFL, effectively Mr. Goodell, and the NFL finds out that there is a viable, essentially more or less believable claim by such a person, then obviously the NFL would be in a much stronger position to argue that further discipline would be warranted. Of course, that depends on the specifics of the claim, the believability or mendacity of the person making the claim, and so on. So I think the best we can say right now is if there are more claims, we just don't know how it's going to shake out, but that's the most likely construct.
Yes.
With regard to civil suits, yeah, of course, the attorney in Houston, what's his name? I can't remember his name now. The guy representing the plaintiffs, he's of course going to, be happy to talk to other people who may have claims. If they do have claims, they are most likely valid in the sense of being procedurally permitted, because unless you've already brought a lawsuit and resolved it, you have a right to bring it within the statute of limitations. My understanding is that the statute of limitations for the tort of battery in Texas is 2 years. So, we have to presume that we have until about March of next year that people could still come forward. So yes, the civil suits could continue to go forward. On the other hand, I think right now we're at 5 remaining plaintiffs.
I'm not sure on the exact. I'm not sure on the exact
Yeah.
number right now, but there were potentially 2 cases that were gonna be filed, and then you never heard about them. They vanished, and I don't know if maybe those individuals backed out, or my guess, and this is a total guess on my part, reckless speculation on my part. My guess is that this attorney knows what he's doing in terms of unraveling different things at different points. Because if you think about it, every time things have got a little better for Watson, something else comes right out.
Right.
Hey, he clear of all civil, or of all criminal, right? Clear of all criminal. And here comes his contract. Everything's great. Everybody was like Team Watson. He's told you he was innocent, blah, blah, blah. Gets this new contract.
Right.
Things start unraveling again. And so I'm fearful, I'm hitting this from a fantasy perspective. I'm not trying to conjure up rumors and speculation in a reckless way. I'm merely trying to get to the root of the question and the problem. Where do you draft Deshaun Watson? Are you comfortable drafting Deshaun Watson in the 6th or 5th round or whatever, or super flex, even super flex more than other situations? Do people take a little bit more of a risk? And it's everyone thinks he's out of the woods, and I'm not saying he isn't, but I think you just highlighted the fact that if a situation comes about and it's a new claim, this isn't where Bob goes around slapping and punching and assaulting people in different states, and about 10 of them, but there's 20 more of them, and you literally tell Bob, okay, you did this, we're going to give you punishment for those 10 people. Oh, by the way, we're hearing about this person you assaulted in Texas, this person you assaulted in California. Oh, well, we already handed out discipline for Bob's assaults, no matter how many there are. That's not the way it works, right? So.
No, I mean, again, you'd have to presume that Watson's camp was smart enough to disclose every possible claimant. Under that circumstance, I think it's a different sort of bailiwick. But if they fail to disclose even a single one, then yeah, I mean, the suspension up to this point is based on the claims that have been made and that are known to the NFL. That's sort of, a logical unavoidability. So yeah, I agree. I mean, look, again, this is a fantasy football show. For purposes of that, look, just my personal opinion, I think drafting Deshaun Watson right now is still very risky. Now, is it possible that everything will end up right where it is and that he'll be out there on week 7? Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's definitive at this point.
Yeah, I think that's my purpose here, is to not, like I said, conjure up some kind of like crazy like conspiracy or something. I feel like I feel like this thing could get worse again before it gets to a point where everybody can breathe easy and say, "Oh yeah, he will play," after 6 games.
No. We're not at that point yet. There's still a certain degree of chaos here.
Yeah. And I don't know how much you have in terms of details of the exact case and the number of potential people, but let's say there were 24 or whatever, 26 people involved in filing a claim, right around that number, and then some backed out or some settled, and if there are potentially 66 cases, like I just imagining with your experience, when somebody was maybe on the fence of maybe coming forward and they're like, I don't really want to be in the spotlight or whatever, I just imagine this ruling of 6 games is on the lower end of the expectation level that would be in the middle. Like if you were wanting to satisfy both parties, number one, you wouldn't, because the people that want him suspended for the year want him suspended for the year. The people that want him completely, suspension free, they want him suspension free. There's really nobody in the middle. So the only possibly good outcome where both sides are relatively happy and not in a position to push back would be if it was in the middle. And that to me would have been like 8 to 10 games. The 6th game is a little low. And so I guess I want to ask you this question. Do you think the NFL, and this is your projection here, will appeal this to Roger Goodell and let him then come in and be judge, jury, and executioner? Because that is to the letter of this process. He can become that. He can do whatever. He could say, Sue Robinson, I'm sorry. Thank you for your time, but we're not listening to a word you said. Now that you have given an opinion of discipline, I can come in and do whatever I want as long as it's appealed. Do you think the NFL appeals, or do you think the NFL sticks to what has been said, that they would not appeal, both sides would not appeal, both sides would accept Sue Robinson's determination? Or do you think they said that because they thought there's no way she's coming back with under 6 games, and they were told maybe this thing is a lot more corrupt, the process, than we think, and everybody knew what was on the table? Like, is that possible? Did everybody know what was going on? And number 2, do you think the NFL will appeal?
What's possible is obviously an awfully big Venn diagram. Anything's possible. My best guess, having been in, obviously not NFL related, but in similar kinds of circumstances, it would be, I would put it this way. I'm a little bit surprised that the suspension was only 6 games. We just recently went to a 17-game schedule, and sort of the obvious choice here would have been 8 games. So I'm a little bit surprised at that. So that leads to then the question, what is it exactly that might have been discussed that would have prompted, I believe she's a former federal judge, Judge Robinson, to choose 6 games? Look, the NFL it's really not even a, how would I put it? The NFL is a form of entertainment, technically, in the eyes of the law. And that means they're not really subject to antitrust claims or claims relating to, fraud. They could literally fix games if they wanted to and get away with it, because it's a form of entertainment. And since it's a form of entertainment, there's nothing that would necessarily preclude the NFL from having a closed-door conversation with Judge Robinson so that everybody was on the same page and just said, look, we're going to go with 6 games, we're all going to shake hands, and we're going to be done with it. Is that possible? Yeah, of course it's possible. I've got to believe that that's the most likely way to read the 6-game suspension. Because if that did not happen, then Judge Robinson's choice of 6 games puts the NFL in a really weird spot.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that what they would have preferred would have been something right down the middle.
Exactly.
Which, again, to me is obviously 8 games, which then makes it much easier. It's a much easier case to defend in terms of public relations.
Yeah, I mean,
my best guess. I wasn't in the room. I don't pretend to have specific facts. But my guess is that there was some sort of a conversation that at least implied that everyone would agree. So who knows? But that's my best guess. I don't think the NFL will appeal. Again, look where they are. Let's say that they appealed. In effect, what they would most likely be going for would be either an additional 2 games or an additional 4 games. And at this point, they're all the people who wanted Deshaun Watson thrown in prison. They're already pissed off.
Yeah,
they're not going to be happy over an additional 2 games.
And do you think that the NFL is pressured by? And I know this is not your specialty but I'm just curious your opinion. Do you think the NFL is pressured to make an appeal, and Roger Goodell pressured to at least bump it 2 games, which wouldn't be stepping on Sue Robinson's toes too much to be like 2 games? It would be completely, it would throw the whole thing out the window and say, why do you even have an arbitrator? Why do you even have somebody in the middle doing this if you're going to just overrule them? So a little bump I could see not stepping on it. But do you think that sponsorships and advertiser pressure is going to make the NFL act? Because I feel like this is completely on the wrong end of middle ground. I don't think it's even close. I think the people, I think Watson's camp and Watson were probably like 6 games deal, whereas if it was 8 to 10, they'd be like, yeah, kind of expected that, but we're not going to appeal that. Because what if we appeal it and Roger Goodell says a year? Like the NFLPA is not appealing it because it can only be increased if it gets appealed, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. They're not going to appeal. No, the question is whether the NFL will agree to the six
right.
games. Yeah, I mean, look, I would put it slightly differently, and that is that Deshaun Watson's case is just one case. The NFL has to be thinking about the future. If they decide to, in effect, fight with Judge Robinson over 2 games, how do you think she's going to respond to that? You think she's going to say, oh, I get it. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I'm perfectly happy to be your lapdog? No.
Right.
She's not going to like that. And they have to know that that's a risk.
And I think
that would be a big problem to go down that road right now, which is why I come back to the belief, my best guess, is that there was some sort of behind the closed door handshake that we'll all agree to 6 games and we'll just move on.
And why even have
now, can I
facade?
promise that? No. And for fantasy football purposes, look, there are. It depends. Unless you're in a super flex, which as you know, Smitty, I do a lot of fantasy football.
Yeah.
Unless you're in a super flex, there are plenty of good other quarterbacks that mean taking Deshaun Watson in the 9th round probably doesn't make sense right now. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
Because there's no guarantee that we're done.
It feels like a facade. The NFL, all this, like to have an arbitrator or somebody, the middleman person or middlewoman person doing this, it's a facade. Like it's so. Yeah. What do you make of the Calvin Ridley year-long suspension and how that didn't get approached even near the same way? It's just Roger Goodell. And then this situation where there's somebody in the middle making decisions. So Calvin Ridley's out a year. And I'm not arguing that he doesn't deserve to be, technically speaking, the integrity of the game. I get you got to protect that like in a crazy fashion. But the imbalance of it, like 1 year, 6 games, and then you come back around and it's like Kamara pushed into the future. Maybe he doesn't even see a suspension this season. And we could touch on Kamara real quick. But what's your thoughts on like the way the NFL operates? It's a facade in a lot of ways. This disciplinary like fake front that they have here.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, you're getting into what is entirely subjective opinion at this point. But yeah, if you're going to request, then my personal opinion is that Roger Goodell is just not a very good leader. He gets whipped around far too easily by various interests and would be much better off to simply have a firm hand. Either way, either be disciplinary or don't be disciplinary. The idea that a guy's going to get a year suspension for betting, what was it, $1,400? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's just my personal opinion. I understand why they did it, because you don't want to go down that road of people betting on their own team or betting on other teams. I get it. It's like the Pete Rose thing, okay? The owners get very worked up about that. And let's not kid each other. This is a league that's still run by the owners. I think, frankly, the owners like Goodell being a little bit soft because they know they can push him around when they need to. So, I mean, look, did you see the thing that came out today about the Dolphins?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, come on. You really want us to believe that the owner, what's his name?
Ross.
The owner of the Dolphins. You really want us to believe that he was kidding when he offered $100,000 for each loss? I mean, come on, who are you kidding?
I mean, what's the deal with the fact that, like, how much of that was to try and take the spotlight off the Watson situation? Like, let's look firm and strong over here. You know what I mean? It's just, that's why I say it's all facade.
Sure.
You know, and Kamara, what are your go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, but true, and we're allowed to complain about it. That's part of the fun of the NFL, frankly, just between us fellas. Look, they're not really what I would call stand-up people for the most part. All they care about is money, but that's okay. They're a form of entertainment. They're not a real business. They don't provide any specific, they're not medical providers who owe a duty of care to make sure that people don't die. Nobody's going to die from the NFL being a bunch of windbags. Life is going to go on. So
what do you make?
Complain about it. I think Roger Goodell is just weak. That's the bottom line. What
do you make of the Kamara situation? Like, he's got this the reported video footage of him kicking this individual. Well, first of all, so the way that the story goes is Kamara put his hands on said individual to, remove him from the elevator or stop him from getting in the elevator. Dude smacked Kamara's hand down, like, get your hand off my chest. Entourage jumps the guy immediately, including Kamara, and then they all kick him at least once. Kamara kicked him, according to reports, at least once while he appeared to be unconscious, according to the video. So that's what happened in that situation. There was talk initially about prison time, not just, suspension. And now it's like kind of getting watered down. And now everybody's like, he's going to play this year because they keep delaying the hearing and it's been delayed 60 days. But my cautionary message is that just because it gets delayed 60 days doesn't mean that in the middle of the season, when you've actually drafted, preparing for Kamara to play a full season, he could get ripped from your team when you haven't drafted properly for it. But what's your take on that situation? And is there any kind of predictions or observations you have that could help people in terms of draft prep?
Let's start with the look. The PR look for the NFL is once again not great. As an attorney, I wondered for 25 years, why didn't they simply let the criminal process play itself out? So as you may recall, up until about a year ago, 2 years ago now, they basically would jump in even if nobody had filed a criminal complaint.
Right.
So they had kind of set a precedent that they were going to jump in irrespective of what the law actually said. So that made it look like they didn't care what the law said. Well, now they've, as you know, it's been, about a year and a half maybe, they changed course and now say we will let the criminal process play itself out before we take any specific discipline. Well, this is what you get. You get video of a star running back with 6 touchdowns on Christmas Day kicking some average citizen who's already on the floor, apparently unconscious. And you can't do anything about it? That's a bad look. No question.
Do you think
now, am I saying I have a perfect answer? I don't know. I think that it's I think they would be I get why they chose to let the criminal process play out. I totally get it. But it does create a PR problem and they simply have to pick. They have to go one way or the other. In terms of again, let's stay focused here on fantasy football. I personally think that the odds are, given today's event, or was it yesterday? the criminal hearing getting kicked 60 days, I think, frankly, he's going to play the whole season. I really do. And that may not be what you want to hear, but
no, I
think
want to
he
hear
plays the
what
whole season.
I want to hear what you
Yeah.
what you
Yeah.
believe to be true.
The odds of them
I've got no
getting
bias here
yeah.
for it. I want to hear what you believe because that'll help
Oh, no.
guide us the best way we can.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. What I meant was that I know it's a bad PR look, but
Oh, yeah.
in terms of the odds of them getting all the way through a criminal process by, let's say, November 15th are pretty low at this point.
But
I can't promise that.
But do you
obviously,
believe
the
they'll
odds are against it not being done?
But do you believe they'll stay true to the we won't do anything until the whole process plays out, or do you think, based on the Watson backlash, that they will step in and say, look, because what happened in the Watson situation is different than what happens in the Ridley or this middle ground arbitrator. Like, why did that even get injected into the Watson situation but isn't used for every single situation out there? Like, do you know the history behind that? Like, why is Sue Robinson involved in Watson's situation but not in Kamara's, not involved in Ridley's, not involved in these other situations? What's even the point of that?
I couldn't tell you. I do not pretend to know the collective bargaining agreement. I'm not sure why that would be the case, especially with Ridley. That one I really thought would have been subject to this. Kamara, again, their position has been publicly stated that they're going to wait for the criminal matter to resolve. Now, do I think that there's going to be even more political pressure or public relations pressure on Goodell to do something? Sure, of course. That's a tough question for him to answer. Will he cave to it? I don't know. Really, if the NFL was smart, and I'm not talking about perfect world, completely moral, upstanding citizen. I'm just talking about being smart as a business. If they were smart, what they would say to the entire public is, look, we're just a form of entertainment. This is like Hollywood, okay? We don't enforce any moral code whatsoever. If a criminal matter comes up, then the criminal matter will resolve itself. As far as we're concerned, people can play until they literally commit murder. Now, again, that's just me. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. But if they were smart, that's what they do, because the idea of the NFL being some sort of a moral arbiter is a joke.
I mean, they're inconsistent with it, which is the problem. Like, if you're, like you said, heavy hand, do it consistently at least so everyone knows what to expect. It's a joke when Ridley, and again, for the people that are going to say the integrity of the game, I understand, and Tony even said that himself. For the integrity of the game, you've got to have a heavy hand, but you can't have a heavy hand there and not a heavy hand here and make a determination there. Like, I mean, what kind of due diligence was done? I'm sure they have a lot of hardcore evidence that Ridley did bet, you know what I'm saying? But did they go through a process of proving anything there? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it doesn't really, it's not like he went to court on it. It's not like they have anything tangible there. So why does he get suspended in that situation for a year, but you can't do anything about Kamara? And you know what I mean?
Yeah. This is a bit of a guess, but when you read between the words, it felt like there was something else going on in the background with Ridley. I think he had some sort of personal problems going on. There may have been some admissions made to the NFL that we don't know anything about. Mm-hmm. That'd be my best guess. But again, I mean, look, today, if I say to a Steeler fan, and I'm a Browns fan, so the Steelers can all, I won't say it on your show. If I say to a Steeler fan that I don't care what anyone else says, to me, he's Ben Roethlisberger, they respond. But I remember reading that story, and the NFL did almost nothing at the time to Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, I mean, things have definitely changed. Yeah, I mean, social media, the spotlight, it's all about the spotlight. It's all about PR, as you've mentioned before. It's all about PR.
Sure.
But I guess my last question here would be this: this hearing for Kamara has been postponed 60 days, and we can't assume they're just going to postpone it again. Like, everyone's trying to use that narrative. Like, if it got postponed, then it'll get postponed again. We don't really know the details of that, right? So, if we assume that it's going to happen 60 days from now, that puts us 5 weeks into the NFL season. Is it feasible to think this could play out in enough time that he could be out week 12, week 14, week 10, week 11. I mean, I don't know that I would say he feels any safer to draft than Deshaun Watson in some respects, because he'd have to have another trial postponement in order to, I think, finish the year, right? Or does it seem like something that would not even come close to a conclusion based on the way attorneys can drag something out?
I don't want to overstate it, Smitty, because frankly, I haven't followed the Kamara thing quite as closely. I'm vaguely familiar with it. My understanding is that the hearing that's set 60 days out is not a trial, but instead a show cause hearing. And if that's the case, what I'm saying, could be wrong. I admit I could be wrong. If that's the case, what I'm saying is that to get through an entire criminal process, including a trial, by, let's say, again, November 15th, that just isn't going to happen.
But could the NFL... Yeah, I agree with you. And that gives us good insight on that Kamara's maybe safer than he was a month ago, clearly. But could the NFL say something like they were going to maybe say to Deshaun Watson and say, look, we're not going to dish out punishment. We're going to give you paid leave, but there's no way we're allowing you to go through a trial in the middle of the season. So even if you're right, if it's a show cause, but the trial even begins before the season ends, how likely are we?
That's true. I agree. PR-wise, you'd almost have to put him on the exempt list. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to have a guy show up on Sunday and the next day have an evidentiary hearing where people are playing the video in court in front of the public of him kicking someone who's laying on the ground. I mean, that's just horrible PR.
And they're not dishing out punishment because they're paying him paid leave, exempt list paid.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think is what the NFL wanted to kind of do to Deshaun Watson. I bet they regret not doing it. But the interesting part.
Look.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say was, look, again, it's subjective opinion. This is a fantasy football show. I personally would tell you Deshaun Watson is still a risk. I personally believe that Kamara is that 60-day kick makes him less risky if you're drafting tonight. But obviously, take Mark Ingram in the 14th round. Don't be a dummy.
Yeah. Hey guys, if you have a question for Tony before he jumps, and Tony, if you got to jump. But if you guys have a question for Tony
I'm fine.
Ask and we'll see if he's got an answer. And it could be anything. It could be about Kamara, it could be about Ridley, it could be about whatever. Just ask away, and I'll drag your question on screen, and we'll ask Tony. Anything else on your mind? Because you're being embedded in the legal world like you are, just like a medical person, when they go to the hospital, they're just analyzing constantly, or they watch a medical TV show and they're just analyzing constantly. Your brain's got to be constantly going whenever you hear news or talk, what this could go this direction. Is there anything that's on the top of the forefront of your mind in terms of anything legal wise? Dalvin Cook situation where there was reportedly a domestic abuse situation, and then his legal team, what an amazing job they did, right? They came out and beat the news to the punch, so to speak, and they literally attacked the situation. Anything Dalvin Cook wise that you have a question about, or?
The only thing I know about Cook is pretty much what you just summarized, which is that his team got out in front of it very quickly, which was very, very smart, and I'm sure that he paid them an appropriate sum.
Yeah.
So I don't have any deep insight other than they did a very good job.
Yeah, because they didn't do that, it could have went downhill.
What's that?
If they didn't do that, it could have went in a totally different direction. But yeah, what were you going to say?
Yeah, no, they were smart. I was just off the top of my head trying to think if there's anything else going on in the league. Nothing off the top of my head. I mean, obviously the big news is Deshaun, and then Kamara's 1B. So
this is a good question.
Go ahead.
Andrew says video comes out on Kamara, it will change things, which is very, very, very good point. Is there a way this video gets released in your experience on this Kamara footage? And if it did, how much different do things get for Kamara in the NFL and the pressure? Because that would be a massive, like when that Ray Rice video was released, and this was before social media was even close close to the same in terms of impact on these situations. But that video changed everything. If it was just heard about, you heard it, it'd be one thing. But to see it, what do you think about that? And what's the likelihood we'll even see the video leaked?
Well, the likelihood is, it's impossible to predict. Look, there's a reason that the media has informants, and there's a reason that those informants leak information. There's all sorts of motivations for that. In this case, you can rest assured that the prosecuting attorney in that jurisdiction, which I don't even remember, was that in L.A.? I don't remember. But whatever the prosecuting attorney jurisdiction is, they've got complete control of that video at this point. However, there's no question that the police have had access to it, and it's certainly possible that any patrol officer in that local police department can get it to the media. And yes, look, do we even have to talk about the obvious difference between the oral versus the visual? That people react differently to what they see. There's no question about it. I remember that Ray Rice video. I thought for sure, I have no problem admitting, I thought for sure that his girlfriend was overstating the whole thing. And then I saw that video and I'm like, ooh, that guy's done. He's done.
Yeah, the aggressiveness.
So, yeah, if the video comes out, sure, it changes everything. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's presuming that it shows what we've heard it shows.
Yeah, that's true. That's also a good point. And a lot of people report on things and that keeps getting reported on, and you don't know what's true and what's not true. I mean, maybe Kamara didn't even kick him while he was unconscious, and then you have a whole, lesser level to it. But it is interesting to think about what one little thing can do to the course of an event like this, like the Deshaun Watson thing. One simple claim coming forward from now until March of whatever, March 15, March 16, whatever the statute of limitations is on the Watson situation. I think it's March of 2023. So if anything comes forward between now and then, it's just such a different, course that it could take. But
yeah, there's no question the NFL has to deal with it if Watson's camp failed to specifically disclose that particular transaction. No question.
Mm-hmm. And you got to think he probably doesn't have an account. Like if it was 66 to 100 individuals, there's no way he knows how many people or how to contact them or who, you know what I'm saying? There's no way. There's no way. If it is that number, and who's to say if they disclosed only the number of individuals that the Texans set up rooms for, and the Texans, we can talk about that in a second, I guess now or whatever. The Texans were complicit to some degree because, and obviously there's legal issues with this, that they set up the room in the meeting spot for this, and apparently, reportedly, and I don't know how accurate the report is, provided the non-disclosure agreements to Watson to give to these individuals. So I imagine there are situations that Watson hasn't accounted for, if it is above that number. But who knows?
Yeah, the odds of him having, preserved specific data relating to each transaction, each incident, I would say are comparatively low, but you don't know precisely that information because this is obviously an exceedingly unusual situation, especially given the fact that the team was involved.
How come we haven't heard much of that? I mean, we haven't heard a little bit of it, but why is the team not more in the spotlight?
Well, I thought I heard that the team settled the claim immediately.
They did. And it hasn't been talked about that much.
That's why they did it. That's why they settled, was they wanted to, stop the news cycle as quickly as possible, which I don't blame them. Mm-hmm. From my perspective, as someone who represents plaintiffs in personal injury and medical malpractice cases, I frankly would be even more motivated to go after the team than I would be against Watson personally, because the team ought to know better. They're supposed to be the adults in the room.
Mm-hmm.
For them to allow these women to be subjected to that under that set of circumstances,
and they stated
just really
after the settlement announcement, they stated that this is not an admission of guilt, that they're doing this because they believe in protecting people and especially women, and so they didn't admit any wrongdoing when they announced that they had settled. It's just crazy that was it. We didn't hear anything. Nobody's Nobody's going after the team. Nobody's saying, oh, let's talk more about this. It was just accepted. They settled quickly, and everyone's just eyes back on Watson, But
yeah, well, I've been doing the law for 24 years now, Smitty, and every single case that I have ever settled, the release has included a clause denying liability. So there's no news there.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, the times that I've seen someone pay $1 million and not have been, tortiously liable have been zero.
Zero. Wait. Explain that again and say that again, because I was expecting you to say a high number, and you just said zero came out of your mouth.
Yeah, no. The point is that if someone's writing a check for 7 or 8 figures, they're going to insist on a release that says we didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
But I've never seen a single one who actually didn't do anything wrong.
Ever.
If you're writing a check for 8 figures, you did something wrong.
And that's what a lot of people have been saying lately, and I do agree with that. But to hear you say you've never, in your 25 years, seen it happen one time is a shocking thing to me. Like that's.
Well, no. What I'm saying is that the public perception that this denial is a bunch of crap, it's a bunch of lawyer gobbledygook, is absolutely correct. The team did something wrong. They knew they did something wrong, and they wrote a check so that they wouldn't have to be dragged through the mud in the public.
Right.
That's okay. That's our system of civil justice in this world, in this country, and that's okay because in the end it works. But there's no question that the team knew that they had done something wrong, or they wouldn't have settled it in 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree with that. And I take a little heat sometimes when I give my opinion. My opinion is that, look, Watson did, and I don't want to get into any graphic details or anything, but Watson did do a lot wrong. Like whether he did, I can't prove guilt or innocence or anything like that, but these were calculated, targeting manipulation tactics that he used at an extreme scale in massive numbers. And so, whether he knew exactly how to, not cross a certain line, but it still put, all of these people in this position. He did this. He put the team, he put the league in this situation. For people that defend him violating the personal conduct policy, that's funny to me, because regardless of the innocence of guilt or guilt of the situation in the court of law, he most certainly violated the league's personal conduct policy, but so did the Texans, in my opinion. And I think it's funny when people defend him in that regard. That part bothers me, that people even think, some people actually believe that everything was made up. And it's like, he's admitted to a lot of things that have happened. He's admitted to women crying, leaving his presence. And then he says, I don't know why they cried. Like, we know why they cried. We know why.
Sure.
But
of course.
Anyway.
No, I get it.
I appreciate you, Tony, coming on here and talking with us. We got to do like some kind of regular series, especially when there's some kind of legal, situation, at hand. But we need to get you on to talk about Camaro once we have more information on that. Ridley, once we, see any movement on that. Are there any other legal situations going on that I'm blanking out on, guys, that we want to ask Tony about before he jumps? Or Tony, if you have anything.
Again, those are the two that I'm obviously acutely familiar with at the moment, since I am literally in the middle of a draft. So, I don't know. But let me go back to your invitation. I'd be happy to be on any time as long as I'm available.
Yeah.
I love your show, Smitty. I love the work that you do, and I get a kick out of talking, especially when it's at least obtusely related to fantasy football, because I love fantasy football.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, hey, that's why we're here. I mean, I am a news show. This is technically a news show. I'm more about NFL news and NFL talk with fantasy spin during this, 7 p.m. show every day. So I clearly cover fantasy the entire time, but I do take pride in that this is a news show. This is an NFL show. I have people in here that don't play fantasy football at all that watch the show daily, because I try and bring that NFL spin it. And to get you on and talk, legal on top of football, on top of fantasy is like the trifecta. So we need to get you, we need to have a Tony segment that we call you, we call you when we need you. And I apologize that the phone number that you had to dial in had ironic coincidence with the topic at hand, the 602 NFL.
That's fine, buddy. Don't worry about it.
Call into the show. Dial 602 NFL.
Okay, Tony, appreciate
right.
you, man. We'll get you back on real soon. Appreciate you, buddy.
All right, Smitty. Take care, buddy.
Yep. Tony, the Tiger attorney at law. Man is an animal, a beast, a fantasy football and legal mind above no others. Tony the Tiger, ladies and gentlemen. And we will, on that note, go to the voicemail segment of the show.
It's voicemail time. Drop a voicemail at the Fantasy Football Show on the gram. Tell your grandma.
He'll punch you in the throat.
And believe it or not, my voicemail groups have been a little bit behind on dropping the voicemails today. So I'm literally going in there, and I'm not seeing much of anything in there from my people. I know that Terry had some questions, and we'll open the phone lines. The phone lines are actually open right now. So if you guys want to dial into the show, we can definitely
Call
take care of
into
you.
the show. Dial 602 NFL. Dong.
Terry's got a few right here from the Discord. Terry.
Smitty, in an auction draft, B-Man asked, would you rather have Jamar Chase and DK or CD and Debo?
CD, so Lamb, and Debo. That's a good one. Thank you for everybody in here today. Hit that thumb up button on your way out or in the door. Jamar Chase, DK, or Lamb and Debo. Give me... God, that's tough. What do you guys think? Answer that question in the chat. You're live on the Fantasy Football Show. Who am I talking to?
What's up, Smitty? This is Hayden.
Hayden, what's up, my man?
Hey, man. I called you a few weeks ago about when I was trading picks, and I had like 14, 35 through 38.
Okay.
And you had some players you wanted me to get. Well, we had that draft yesterday, so I was going to tell you who I got.
Okay, who'd you get?
Listen to this dream team, man. I got a Joe Burrow, DK, Terry, Javonte, ETN, Schultz, Judy, and Hall.
Wow.
All on the same team.
Wow. Nice job. Read
Yep.
that one more time.
Joe Burrow, DK, Terry, Javonte, ETN, Brees Hall on the bench, Dalton Schultz,
Brees Hall.
Jerry Judy in the flex.
Brees Hall.
I'm about to fire up Brees Hall.
Yeah, I mean, you almost got to make a trade somehow, but I don't want you trading ETN either. You can only start 2 running backs?
No, I could start 3. I just had Judy in there right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, whatever. You could argue that. Maybe you don't need to make a trade then. Maybe you put Brees when Brees gets going, if you want to wait a week or two. I can understand that. Yeah, it's a good team, bro. And
yeah.
I like Judy. I mean, DK
That's
and...
what I was going to call it out to you, actually, if I should trade for anything like that, because I don't know who to start.
I mean, let the Judy hype climb a little bit more. This injury to Tim Patrick might do something to Judy's value. So you might be able to trade Judy. And I'm not opposed to trading ETN if you could trade up and get a top 2 or 3 monster. But I really kind of feel like ETN could be a top 5 guy. Not that I expect it, not that I draft it, but now that you have him, I don't know that I want to. I don't know that I want you trading him. I'd almost say
yeah.
Can you trade? Who are your other running backs besides the big 3 that you got?
Madison, Rashad White, Marlon Mack, Darrell Williams.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, sit tight. Offer comes to you. Attack it, but good job.
Appreciate you, Smitty.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Call in anytime, even if you got another question today. Later.
Sir.
So the chat saying DK, Chase, Lamb, Debo, DK, Chase, Lamb, Debo. See, it's really, really even. I mean, it all comes down to DK. If you think DK can be a low-end wide receiver 1, and I still think he can. First of all, Geno is probably going to start, and Geno and DK have a pretty good rapport. But I probably lean. God, it's hard to say this, but I probably would lean Lamb, Debo. And I hate saying that. That's a tough question. I could go. I almost changed my mind right now. Like I could go back and forth on it. So
And Dollar Bill asked, with Deshaun Watson only getting 6 games suspension, how does that change Chubb's ABP? Does it go up? Does Cooper's go up?
I'll call back again.
Does it do for Hunts and new jokers? Does it go up?
Yeah. So
He was asking about Peoples Jones as well. He's not sure.
what's up? You're live on the Fantasy Football Show. Who am I talking to?
Hey, Smitty, it's Andy.
What's up, Andy?
What's up? I got a 10-man keeper, and cut down's coming up. Cut down is in 10 days.
Okay.
Standard scoring, I got 8 pretty much locked in, easy to pick. But then I have Chase Edmonds, Khalil Herbert, Hunter Renfrow, and I also have Schultz and Muth. So I can only keep two of those 5.
Say the 5 again.
It would be Chase Edmonds, Khalil Herbert, Renfrow. I also have Schultz and Freiermuth. I do have Kelsey too, so
Freiermuth. You're keeping Kelsey though, right? Obviously.
yeah, I'm keeping Kelsey.
Freiermuth, and then who was after Freiermuth?
Schultz.
No, Schultz you gave me already. So I have Edmonds, I have Herbert.
Yeah, I have Schultz, I have Kelsey, but I'll keep whatever you know what I mean. I'll keep the most talented.
Yeah, but you said Edmonds, Khalil Herbert, Schultz, Freiermuth, and who else?
Hunter Renfrow.
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 I don't know, man.
It's standard scoring too. I know this is
you can keep 2, right? So I'll probably say Schultz.
Yeah.
Schultz is a lock because the guy's getting traded or drafted in like the 5th round now, which I don't condone necessarily. I loved him in the 7th round, then he climbed to the 6th round. We're like, okay, we'll take Schultz in the 6th round, and I love him. He can earn 5th round value. I'm just saying, I take him because guess what? Week 1 starts. You're going to be able to trade this guy for a ton. You know, you're going to be able to trade him for a ton. So you're probably not going to be able to trade him before week 1, unfortunately. Maybe you can. I don't know. Maybe somebody will get excited. But I kind of lean. God, I'm not big on Edmonds. I like Freiermuth, but he's not. I probably go. You can only keep 2 of these guys. I'd probably keep Schultz and Renfrow.
Yeah.
I like Khalil Herbert, but you could draft him back. Edmonds, I just don't care about. I don't know why. I may be wrong on that. I could be.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm getting Herbert so late in other drafts that I don't even care anymore if I keep him.
Yeah, Herbert, just throw him back. You'll draft him back. Freiermuth, you'll draft him back too. No one's taking him more than before 10, 11 round area. Edmonds might be smart because you can trade him because some people like him a lot. He's a starter in Miami, but I don't know. I guess I lean between. Schultz is a lock. I lean between Edmonds and Renfrow. I kind of lean Renfrow, but I just feel like Renfro's not going to be as good this year. There's too many mouths to feed. Adams landing in Las Vegas is not.
I like Renfro's talent.
Yeah,
this year.
I mean, do you think anybody would trade for Edmonds?
It's hard to trade right now. Like a couple days before the trade deadline, it's always a flurry because everybody's cutting down to 10.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to trade, but everybody knows to wait for a couple days before the cut down.
And for those saying Herbert,
going to be cheaper.
For those saying Herbert, I love Herbert, but Herbert can be drafted back.
I love Herbert.
No one's gonna scoop him up for a while. He can draft him back with ease. So it's not that me saying drop Herbert doesn't mean I don't like him. He can only keep 2 guys. You guys keep saying cut Herbert. He's gonna only keep 2. I would keep Dalton Schultz, and I'd probably keep Renfrow because I feel like Renfrow you could start in your wide receiver 3 in a bind, and he'll do okay for you. Whereas Edmonds, I don't know if Edmonds will be starting in week 4. So that's where I'd go. But Edmonds might be the guy to keep if you feel like you can pull off a trade. If you feel like you can pull off a trade. Edmonds. But if Edmonds isn't starting by week 5 and you're telling me my league won't trade with me, then what good's he going to do you if he's not starting there or not in the lineup? So I lean Renfroe with no trading. I lean Edmonds with trading. I wish I could give you a more definitive answer, but like the guy before you, some questions don't have an answer, you know.
So it's rough.
Yeah.
All right, man. I appreciate the advice.
Yep.
I'll try and get some trades, and maybe I can do a 2-for-1 or something, and that'll help.
Yeah, buddy. All right, later.
All right.
You're live on the Fantasy Football Show. Who am I talking to? All right. Deuces. Watson. Yeah, that's a subjective question and answer. Edmonds or Renfroe, I don't know. Some people love Edmonds, I don't. Watson, how does he affect Chubb? And I mean, it's great for Chubb, you know, but will Chubb be overworked and hit 8-man front after 8-man front at the beginning of the part of the year and get hurt? Or, you know, I worry about Chubb in the first 6 weeks, but this is better for his long-term value this year. What's up, James Conklin in the house? What's up, pal? You're live on the show.
Mr. Smitty, what's up, man? I'm doing my dynasty draft, as you well know.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of punted on running back besides Brees Hall. So, real quick, I went Burrow, Hall, Hurts, Pitts, McLaurin, DJ, Deontay Johnson, Elijah Moore, and then Trevor Lawrence was just sitting there for 2 rounds. So I solidified my quarterback. Got to play 2 quarterbacks. So
yeah.
Having 3 quarterbacks isn't that big of a deal.
Nice, man.
Problem I'm having right now is piecing together a running back 2.
Okay.
So available is Damian Harris, don't love. Tony Pollard, I do love. Kareem Hunt, I love even if he goes to another team next year. I love that. But the 2 that I'm really conflicted on is Damian Pierce and Rashard White. Now it's a dynasty league, so.
So you have Pierce, you have White.
That's where I'm at. I'm going to take 2 of these guys because I'm sitting at the pick 5.
So Pierce, White, Tony Pollard, and
Kareem Hunt.
And I assume Walker's gone.
Walker was gone. Raul took Walker because Raul and Caleb this week.
Okay.
Caleb's putting together a monster.
I assume Ramondre's.
I don't know what Raul's doing.
Ramondre's gone, right?
But yeah, Ramondre will be gone. I already talked to my buddy on the phone, and I was trying to talk him out of that pick. You know, just putting that mental jiu-jitsu on him, and it wasn't working. He's taking him at 8-12.
Try to talk him out of it. Hey, don't take him. He's not good.
Yeah, I was trying.
Give me.
I was like, you're taking a Bill Belichick running back? What's wrong with you?
Give me Pollard for sure. Okay, give me Pollard for sure. With the keeper or dynasty value, Pollard is not only good right now, he's the best running back on the Dallas Cowboys roster. I don't care what any Zeke Elliott owner, casual, comes in here and tries this. Nostalgic Zeke Elliott owner comes in here and says, oh, Zeke Elliott's great. Like, he's going to do okay. As long as Elliott stays healthy, he'll probably still get fed. Like, it'll be frustrating for Tony Pollard owners in the beginning of the year. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. You probably, based on what we're hearing out of Dallas right now, for as long as Zeke stays healthy, which I don't think will be all year, Tony Pollard owners might grow a little frustrated. But he's got massive upside. Elliott, I imagine the team moving on from Elliott and Pollard getting an opportunity next year. And if not, Elliott gets hurt and opportunities there anyway. I would go,
if Elliott gets hurt, he's taking off.
If it's me, I'd gamble and go either Pierce or White. I kind of would go Pierce for right now. I feel like White might fall a little bit further. Pierce will go a little quicker in the draft if I had to guess. So I would go Pierce and I would go Tony Pollard if that's me. But I wouldn't stop there. You know, if you're piecing together a running back too, you might want to continue on the running back hunt. No pun intended for Hunt. Hunt and White would be good options. Algier would be a good option later.
Right. So thoughts on Penny? Because I mean, right now he's got the number 1 job, right?
Yeah.
But I hate their line.
I mean, I like Penny in some respects, but I don't know about in Dynasty that I'm going near him when I have options like Pollard on the table, options like White who have more long-term value. Penny to me has very little chance of being a future value. Like, could he be a thorn in the side of Walker all year long and then get hurt at the end of the year or whatever? Penny staying healthy all year and going into the next year as a starter seems so unlikely to me. So I wouldn't take the gamble, personally. I'd rather give me Tony Pollard, give me Dameon Pierce.
Algier all day over Penny.
You what?
They're right next to each other. They're 134, 135. So
who is?
Like I'm at a position where I don't need quarterback anytime soon. So,
yeah. I mean, take
a lot of these guys are looking for quarterbacks now.
Take Penny if you want now value, but
yeah,
you know, like he is going to be.
I think with my receivers, I went high floor. It just based on their quarterback play, I should be all right. And Breece Hall is going to be a monster. Getting Pitts in the 4th round was fantastic.
Yeah.
So I like my team. I'm just the running back 2 spot scaring me a little bit.
Okay. All right, buddy. Appreciate you.
All right, man. That's all I got, man. I appreciate it.
All right, later, man.
Yep.
Mr. Conklin, Madcap.
Sean Hanley 247 asked, based on info from today's hearing postponement, would you try to upgrade from James Conner to Kamara in Dynasty for a win now team?
Yeah.
What might it cost in addition to Conner to get that deal done?
I don't know what you'd have to give an addition, man. You're live on the Fantasy Football Show. Who am I talking to?
Hey, Smitty, this is Noah.
What's up, Noah? Noah who?
Yeah, I'm new to the show.
Okay.
I don't think this is my first time calling in.
Oh,
so.
we've had a lot of
typical
Noahs
question.
here, so I didn't know if you were a Noah of old. This is new Noah.
Yeah, new Noah. I guess what are your thoughts on a 16-man league? Do you think it's too many people?
You know why I think so? Because what content provider out there is cranking out 16-team league advice?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that determines all. Like, you know, you have your own brain, you have your own concepts, but like you want very little content about your league. You know what I mean? Like that's why I would say no to big leagues. I mean, we do big leagues, right? We're doing a big league, but we're doing a very unique league, and the values still kind of apply. And the same thing can be said about a 16-man. Like if you do a 16-man, like you're just not going to hear. There's going to be some advice you can't apply, and there's going to be a lot of advice you can. But you're going to have a lot different strategy in a regular 16-man league with regular lineups. When we do a creative like 20-person league or whatever, we'll have like a 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, you know, or something weird like that. But I don't know. I just say, why create 16-man? Plus, is it a dynasty league or a redraft?
No, it's a redraft.
Yeah, that'll be easier to replace people. But like if it was dynasty, oh my God, like the amount of people that could drop out, and that would be a mess. I would say, you know, It doesn't hurt to have one, but it's just crazy, you know, to consume content that way. But that's me. You know, what are you going to do? Kick somebody out? If you got 16 good guys together, like, do it. Try it. Maybe it's great. Maybe you'll love it. Maybe the stuff you get from the show helps you dominate because you got to dig deeper, and these guys don't know how to dig deeper. Maybe us pinpointing yesterday's show when we're talking about Hamler, picking up Hamler, you might have been like, oh my God, I can pick up Hamler right now. He's available. You would have picked him up, and then Tim Patrick went down, and you would have been in the money. You know, so like maybe the show will help you dominate a 16-teamer. So do it. If it's 16 good guys, do it. Why not?
Okay, appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
Anything else?
No, that's all.
All right, new Noah. Call back anytime, new Noah. Appreciate you. Yeah, 16-teamer. I mean, I would do it, but I'm not gonna go after it and try and make a 16-teamer. You know. Let's see. Did I miss any super chats? I'm sorry if I did. The last one I had was from Ron. Ron, I noticed you didn't have a question in it, so I'm sorry I didn't stop and read it, but let's read it now. Yep, everybody always wants to take the side of the pro athlete they love, and they think all these women always lie about it. The money always makes it go away, and they get away with it. It's a crying shame, says Ron. I respect everybody's opinion on this matter. I don't speak too much on the legal part of it, the criminal part of it, but to say that he didn't do anything wrong is crazy. This guy was calculated in how he did everything over and over and over and over again. So, like, he did put himself in the league and the team in this position. What's up, the Bruce?
Hey, Smitty, I got a quick question for you.
The Bruce! What's up, the Bruce?
Hey, I'm in a league where you can only keep guys for 1 year, but you can trade them. So I have Austin Eckler. I can't keep him. Is a fair trade Eckler and Russell Wilson for Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase?
Eckler and Russell Wilson for Joe Burrow and Jamar. Is it fair?
Would you do that trade?
Would I do it? Absolutely. Is it fair is a different question, or could it be vetoed or whatever? So you're talking about the Bruce trading away Eckler and Russell Wilson. Eckler and Chase are about the same ADP wise. So if we were to remove both of them from the conversation,
Still there, Smitty?
yeah, I'm here. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, the Bruce. I muted you on accident. Yeah,
okay.
So Eckler and Wilson. Eckler, I mean, while I love it, while I think it's a home run, I don't think anybody can veto it. Jamar Chase and Russell Wilson, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase crush it. Crush it. Like, I want Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase 1,000 times over. Like, I'm going to hit the button for you. Let me hit the Joe Burrow. People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.
I mean, you're talking about an amazing trade here, the Bruce. Hold on, where am I at? An amazing trade. But you could argue it, what I'm saying? Like, if you think about it from an ADP standpoint, Eckler and Jamar Chase are going in the same place. Their ADPs are about the same, right? Some might take Russell Wilson over Joe Burrow. Not anybody we know, but somebody might. And Joe Burrow's ADP is sometimes ridiculously low. So, I mean, you could get away with this, bro. This is a really good trade. It's a really good lesson for everybody out here not thinking about it, because when you break it down ADP-wise, some would argue in favor of Russell Wilson and Eckler, and I wouldn't, but some would, and so therefore, it is something to be taken advantage of. I like it, Bruce. I'm going to Smitty approve this easily.
Yeah, that's all I had, because they said, because we can only keep people for 1 year, but then you can trade that person. So I kept Eckler my 1 year. I held on to him. So that's why I didn't know if I should do that. And you get them at their ADP. So Chase, he's going to be my first round pick, and Burrow's going to be, I guess, 6th round, 5th round, something like that.
Okay, so there's rounds attached to this that you haven't revealed to me.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you said what's Jamar's being held where?
In the first, but still with Eckler. He wouldn't have a first round pick. I wouldn't have a first round pick.
Okay, and then Burrow and Wilson, what are the difference in rounds?
I don't think there's a difference in rounds.
Okay,
I think they're both in like the 5th or 6th.
Punch it. Punch it, Brucey. Punch it.
Okay.
Hey, I have a question for you, Bruce.
All right.
Answer honestly, okay?
Yep.
Is this a trade with your mother?
No.
Okay. Your father?
No, she's not in this league. No, he's not in it either.
Okay, I just want to make sure you aren't going to create problems at home by swindling, as somebody said in the chat, swindling your grandma, swindling your pops or your moms. Go do it. Punch it. If this isn't your best friend or your parents, punch it. Who cares the ramifications? I don't care if it's your second cousin. Punch it. Make him pay. Make him pay. Who cares if they don't talk to you for a week or two? This isn't your mom. This isn't your dad. This isn't your grandma. Punch it.
All right.
All right. Appreciate you, man.
All right. I'm going to punch it. Yep. My dad still says he wants a Burrow hoodie, and I'm like, eventually they'll be made. People getting burrowed left and right.
Yeah, that's a lot of text on there. People getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it. He wants the whole text on a hoodie?
Something like that, or just people getting burrowed.
People getting burrowed left and right. We could put little emoji. We could put little hand emojis. People getting burrowed, and then have the 2 hand emojis. That'd be a good one.
Yeah.
I still want your dad to compete with your mom and vie for the top parent spot of one of the subscribers on the show. So you tell your dad to drop us.
I'm gonna try when he gets home from work, because he was out, and then he just came.
Is he watch the show?
Like a week
does your
ago.
dad watch the show, or does he just hear about stuff?
No, he watches.
Well, this is for your dad, Mr. Robeson. Brucey, you can tell him that we're talking about him at 1 hour and 10 minutes and 23 seconds into the show. 1 hour and 10 minutes into the show. This is for you, Mr. Robeson. People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.
There, we played the get burrowed for him. All right, Bruce, appreciate you, man.
Yeah. Yep, thank you.
Later. Only the Bruce's family gets involved in the show. Like, the whole family. Absolutely love it. Love it. What are we at? Hour and 10 minutes into the show, I said. Let's go back to the phone lines for just a few more minutes.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Call into the show. Dial 602-NFL.
We got the Bruce cut loose like a deuce, says Space Ricky. The deuce is loose by the Bruce. What's up? Smitty, voicemail 1. You got one for me? Okay, let's go to it. Voicemail 1.
Hey, Smitty, here's one that'll only really apply to a few of us dinosaurs, but...
You're live on the Fantasy Football Show.
Hey, what's up, Smitty?
What's up? Who's this?
This is Angus. How's it going?
Angus, what's up, my man?
What's up, buddy? So when it comes to running backs, I'm liking the second round a lot more than the first, and I'm a big Javonte fan. I usually do take him right there at the 1-2 turn. The only other running back, though, that gives me makes me just raise my eyebrow a little bit is Aaron Jones, simply because in a PPR setting, he could just absolutely clean up with targets on Green Bay. So I understand all the benefits of Javonte. Why am I too high on Aaron Jones in this situation?
I don't know that you're too high on Aaron Jones, but like there's high risk, high reward for Aaron Jones anywhere in the top of the second round. Because I mean, if you think back, like why did Aaron Jones rise? Because coming out of 2022, no one was excited about Aaron Jones. You know, like losing Devontae Adams. That could be a negative. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to 100% be a positive. I think most people are thinking, okay, I need a second-round running back. It's feeling like this so-called dead zone of running back. And I kind of disagree a little bit that I don't love round 2 for running backs. I love Javonte. But then I kind of feel like that round is kind of dry. I won't go as far as to call it a dead zone that people keep trying to say it's a dead zone. I'd say it's a little bit of a light area for running back. But Breece Hall, to me... You know, at the top of round 3, if I get all worried about running backs, I'm taking Breece Hall at the top of 3. I'm taking ETN at the top of 3. I'm not looking back. I don't care what people say. But I feel like Aaron Jones needs to be drafted like 15 or beyond. I don't know. I mean, he's got to catch 80 passes, which he could, to be worth what I think you're paying there. And A.J. Dillon's not going away, so Aaron Jones has to be utilized as the number 1 wide receiver in the offense. And he could and he should. If I'm the Green Bay Packers, I'm literally throwing to Aaron Jones. I'm giving him 80 to 90 receptions. He's the best wide receiver on the entire roster in terms of hands and rapport. And like he's a running back, but he is the number 1 pass catcher for Rodgers in 2022 if they utilize him. But can we say with certainty they will? I don't know. I don't know for sure. You'd think they would, but I don't know that I'm gambling because, like, who is there at 12, 13, 14? Debo. You know, and Debo runs the ball, catches the ball. He's very effective. Lamb's there. Javante's going to fall there. Swift could, but he oftentimes goes at like 7 or he goes at 13. Like it's tough to know. I don't know. You know, I kind of like those guys a little more than I like Aaron Jones, to be honest.
I get what you mean. Like he could earn the spot, but he could also just completely eat it as well. And there's a little bit of risk there. I mean, for me, it's more, I don't see, like, I never like to draft position, and I know you talk about that a fair amount whenever I tune in, but I don't see a scenario, at least for this season, where I don't take an elite receiver in the first, just because there's such a class in and of themselves, and there's such little risk, so that means you're then trying to find some running back value later. I love ETN in the third. Javonte in the second, anytime I can get him as well, and then just kind of loading up on people who are going to get a ton of targets a little bit later.
But are you a good like sleeper running back guy? Like, do you tend to have the Tony Pollards, the Madisons when they pop off, and because like the way I look at you, what?
Yeah, I was just going to say that what makes me feel most comfortable is when like you take the guaranteed receivers kind of in the beginning, because that's a little bit harder to project as you go along. But then, you can take these really high upside running backs where, like, just the right roll of the dice, they go from like an eighth round pick to like a second round.
I mean, that's the way I look at it. I look at it like, okay, it's so simple, but nobody does it like in uniform. You know, every round guaranteed. Everybody gets very, very caught up in position. And I understand why, because I've had people, we call these worried Williams. I've had a worried William that has ordered a draft call with me before. His name really wasn't William. We're calling him Worried William. And this dude literally told me, Smitty, I want you to take control of this situation. I go, look, Worried William, I'm not drafting for you. I'm helping you. I want this to be your team. He's like, I know, Smitty, but I want you to tell me what to do. And I'm like, well, what fun is this, Worried William? You know, that you're not going to play, I'm going to play, and you're just going to play my team? So I told him, I go, we could do a couple of approaches, and I mapped it out with him. And I said, Worried William, we could take the best player available, no matter what path it takes us down, and that might, I'm warning you, might create a hole at your running back too. Are you comfortable with that? Yes, I am, Smitty, Worried William said with a total affirmation, gung-ho. He was so excited to try something crazy. And, to me, it's not crazy, but okay. We crushed the draft, bro. We took the best player available. Worried William didn't have a running back 2 by round 5, though. Like, we crushed wide receiver. We crushed running back. We were drafting one of the best teams that I had drafted to date at that point. It was like early August. This guy couldn't sleep at night. He couldn't sleep at night. He was texting me constantly on the text line. This guy had a panic attack practically. He's like, I got to get a running back 2. He dismantled his entire team into a garbage team that had, so he could get a running back 2, just watered down his wide receivers to trash. And the guy's running back 2 wasn't even like one of the best running back 2s. And he ruined his team. So everybody's different. And some people can't handle best player available. And I've come to terms with that. So I'm not going to force it down anyone's throat. But if you play it out properly and you sit there and you say, round 1, who is the best player available to me? Not according to ADP, not according to my friend over here that's going to make fun of me if I reach a little bit. Who is the best player? Jamar Chase at number 7, home run. I don't care about running back right now. That's not my concern. You get to round 2, oh my God, it's Deebo Samuel. I don't like Aaron Jones here. I go Deebo. You get to round 3, Breece Hall is a 4th round ADP. I don't care. He's the best player available, and I need a running back to boot, which can impact your best player available evaluation because it's best player available to you at the time with your team build and what's going on around you. Breece Hall, punch it. Now I got Jamar Chase. Now I got Deebo Samuel. Now I got Breece Hall. And I'm in round 4, and I'm sitting there and let's say ETN's there. Punch it. Or let's go down the Worried William path. Let's say it's not let's say it's McLaurin. You take McLaurin. So now you got 3 wide receivers. No. We'll go with Kyle Pitts. So you got Jamar Chase, Deebo Samuel, Breece Hall, Kyle Pitts. You're in round 5. Worried William would say, we got to go running back. We don't have to do anything. We're doing best player available, baby. DK sitting there. You can start 4 wide receivers. DK, do it. Dial it up. Joe Burrow's there. Oh, my God. I'll go Joe Burrow the next round. I don't have to do anything. I don't care if I'm starting Tony Pollard at my running back 2. If I'm stacking every other position to the rafters, it doesn't matter.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and again, you could just get such value for your RB2 much later. So there's just absolutely, like for me, like in those early rounds, like you got to chase the targets. That's usually receivers, and having a receiver in the flex. And again, this is amplified even more so if you're doing PPR. Like that's why somebody like Waddle last season towards the end was just so insane because he's getting all the targets. You don't even need him to score for him to put up 15 points. So you want to chase the targets early on instead of just like getting a really solid RB2.
Yeah. I just love the people that panic about it. Like, oh my God, what about my running back 2? Who cares about your running back 2? If you believe in your sleeper capabilities and you are stacking your team to the rafters, like if you take a running back in round 5 because you have to have a running back 2, and you have the opportunity to stack the other position, you're going to dilute that other position you're about to ignore to go after the running back. Like, it's all relative. No one's saying best player available is to take backup tight ends and backup quarterbacks before you need them. That's not what I'm saying. And nor is best player available taking the best player according to the pre-rank list or ADP. I could care less about ADP. ADP is telling me how you're drafting, not you specifically, but it's telling me how my league mates are drafting. It's a blueprint, and I manipulate the blueprint. I don't use it or draft it. I draft around it. And sometimes that's a reach. I'll take Breece Hall at 3.4 instead of getting cute and letting him fall to the mid-4th where he may not be available anymore. I'll reach. Give me Breece Hall. 3rd round, home run, win a league. Boom. All right, Angus, I appreciate you, pal.
Real quick, what's your thought with Stephon Diggs at the end of the first? Because I really like getting him like when I'm at the 11th or 12th spot, and then getting Josh Allen in like the 4th. That's like one of my favorite teams that I keep drafting.
Yeah, I honestly, like when you think of Debo, who's now in the top 12 to 14 overall. Debo's no longer a 14 or 18 overall pick, and I did my best pick in every round video series I'm doing right now. I did round 1. I haven't released round 2 because we've been going live constantly throughout the days. So I'm working on that now to release tomorrow or tonight, probably tomorrow. But round 2, I talk about Debo being a steal at 15 to 18. I got to like interject and re-record a piece of it and say, stop, this happened. I recorded this before the Debo thing. Because Debo was a 15 to 18 overall steal. But the truth is, and what I'll tell you in the video coming up tonight or tomorrow, in the best pick in every round, round 2 video, I love Debo at 18. I still love Debo at 13. And Debo, Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, and who am I forgetting here at this stage? Lamb, Diggs, Debo, and probably like even Adams right around there. They're all very arguable. Like you if one person was to say, I can't believe you don't like Adams number 1 on that list, or how do you not have Diggs number 1 on that list? Those 4 wide receivers are neck and neck. No one has any business telling anybody else they can't have Diggs as the top ranked wide receiver in that group of 4. Diggs, Lamb, Debo, and Adams. Those are the guys vying for that number 4, number 5 spot. You know, and there's a couple others. I'm not trying to exclude everybody, but those guys are all very, very close. No one has a case to say that Diggs has to be 4 or 5 or can't be 6 or 7. It's just a talented group. Right. Do I like him? Yeah. Do I like Debo a little more? Maybe because of the 380 yards he's probably going to guaranteed run to get another $650,000. You know, and 3 rushing touchdowns gets him another $150K. This guy's incentivized to run, and 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and then 1,400 yards receiving, another 7 or 8 touchdowns. I like Debo a lot. I like both of them. I go back and forth. Honestly, if I had 2 teams side by side at 14 overall, I would take one in one league and one in the other. And if Lamb's there, I'd take Lamb. I mean, I don't know. Bro, I wish I had an answer for you. You guys are asking a lot of questions today that sometimes there's not a definitive answer, and I don't want to force one. Like, it's Diggs and Lamb and Debo and Adams. They're all so close, bro.
That's how I thought about it too. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't, not thinking about something like that.
I mean, you got Josh Allen and Diggs is kind of a fun stack. That offense will be lights out. Diggs is very consistent and efficient. I like him. But do I think Lamb will probably outscore him if Lamb stays healthy? Yeah. Do I think Debo will outscore him if Debo stays healthy? Yeah. Is Diggs more likely to stay healthy than maybe both of those guys? Maybe. That's kind of why he's in that mix. And Adams, you probably take Adams over all of them. But is it crazy to think that Lamb will outscore Adams? Heck no. Either one could outscore the other. Diggs could outscore all those guys. Diggs could be the number 4 wide receiver in fantasy football. He could be the number 3. I mean, he's got the talent.
Nice.
All right, buddy.
Hey, hell yeah, man. Thank you.
Later.
If you're a win now team, how early do you take kickers and defense? Do you always wait for your last pick? Or once you get into 13, 14, if you've really filled your bench spots, are you grabbing them in hopes of a win now, or do you wait till the end?
It depends. Like if let's say there's nobody on the board that I like, and I'm just gonna follow the formula. You always wait to draft a kicker in D. Always wait to draft a kicker in D. Like if you don't like who's on the board, jump on kicker in D 1 round earlier than normal and get the top kicker in the top D. Everybody waits till the second to last round and the last round to take a kicker in D. If you're like literally looking at Crowders or whatever, who cares? Like go after your kicker in D, get the best kicker, the best D, and then get your Crowder. So I'm okay with that. What's up, Ron?
Hey, what's up, Smitty?
What up, my man?
Hey, let's talk a little underdog best ball.
Okay, let's do it. By the way, anybody wants to go to Underdog Fantasy, deposit match of up to $100 for any new depositors from this moment forward. If you are a new depositor, you use promo code Smitty or the link down in the description, you will get a match of up to $100. That means you deposit $100, you get an extra $100. You deposit $50, you get an extra $50 on your first deposit. Go do it and play Underdog Fantasy. What's up, Ron? Hit me with it.
All right. Well, first of all, with the puppy that's going on right now, I don't think it's going to last more than a week. There's already been like 40-some thousand, and this is only the second day, and it's open to 200, I think 20 or 230,000.
Let's do it. Let's do one tonight.
Get in there. Yep. If you're going to get in there, I would suggest you get in there within this week because it's going to fill up fast. Some stuff I've noticed in there on some players.
Okay.
I told you that I was surprised I got Chase at spot 17, right?
Okay.
But then I got the 7th spot again. I got Chase there again. And then I was in another draft where Chase went number 8. Now it's starting to whoa, wait a second. What's going on with Chase? Because he seems to be dropping further back in the draft. That's one player that seems to be moving the opposite way down the draft board for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't think there's a good reason out there. It's just the other thing is more and more people are taking McCaffrey number 1 over. So if you got the number 2 thinking you're getting McCaffrey, more than likely he's going number 1 as of recently. And then later on, Lance is starting to take over being drafted above Burrow, where he's actually spotted in his ADP below, but a lot of people are taking him above Burrow. So that's just some of the players. Some of the lower players are like, Romeo Doubs is moving up to ADP. If you're going to try to get him, you might want to get him while he's almost still free.
Who? Who?
And some other players like that.
What player?
Romeo Doubs.
Okay.
Romeo Doubs. Some people are. He has a late pick. We don't know what he's going to do. But I tell you, everybody's back on. Tennessee receiver rookie.
Burks.
Treylon Burks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. He's moving back up the boards. So that's something also that if you're gonna, if you're looking at him, he's moving on up. So, I mean, the reason I say this is especially if you're like at the beginning of the draft on the turn or the end of the turn, any of the turns, if you're looking like, you're building your team and that's the type of player you need on the turn, if he's not going to come back to you, you might have to jump up, 15 to 16 or 17 spots to get that player that you really want, that fits your team. So,
yeah,
that's just what I've noticed so far.
I think DK still falling right into the round 5.
Yeah, he's still around but Brees Hall's moving up. Of course, we knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
It's getting harder and harder for me to pick him up because before I had no problem. I'm a big running back guy because I mean, the running backs to me are the scarcest position, and if I can get a quality running back, those are always usually the best players available for me. So, if I can get like Najee and then maybe a Javonte late in the second, and then go and get ETN in the third and Hall in the fourth, that was my thing. I could do that if I wanted to, but now it's getting harder and harder to get Hall. You almost got to choose, who do I want? Do I want ETN or do I want Hall? If you're going to go that route, so it's getting harder and harder to get both of those together.
Yeah.
If you want. Now, I know we were your other caller. You were talking about. He was like, I like getting my receivers and all that. Well, me too. But I have to be in the. They have to come to me. If Kupp, Jefferson, or one of the top 3 receivers come, I'm taking them.
Yeah.
Because it's just I'm going to take them, and then I'll after that I'm taking the running backs that I like, and then a lot of times I'll like a receiver in the second round, but sometimes no, it'll be a running back. So
yep,
it all depends, and it's really weird because sometimes I'll end up with four running backs right in a row, and then sometimes I'll end up with like 3 receivers and 1 running back, and then
it's good to mix it up.
Running backs later on.
It's good to mix it up, get a bunch of different versions. All right, Ron, I got to jump to answer these. Yeah, appreciate the call.
Yeah, I just wanted to call and get some.
Yeah, ADP update. We appreciate that. Maybe we'll do this on the semi-regular. Call in and tell us what you're seeing in the ADP world. But we'll go on Underdog tonight and do a couple puppies or something. So I'll see you tonight.
All right, brother.
All right, later, Ron. Appreciate you. Okay, let me answer these super chats here. Conklin said also dynasty team name. It hurts to be burrowed. I like that, James Conklin. That's pretty good. Sorry it took me so long to respond to this super chat. Kenny has a voicemail. I think there's a beginning part of this.
Hey, Smitty, here's one that'll only really apply to a few of us dinosaurs, but if you're a win now team...
Is this the kicker D?
How early do you take kickers?
Okay, yeah, kicker, I got that one. Thank you, Kenny, for that question. Next question here from Noah Sarver. Appreciate you. Sorry it took so long. Who is the best keeper in Superflex 12 team? Najee in the second, Kyler in the second, Lamar in the third, Debo in the 8th round, Trey Lance in the 10th round. I have the 1.12 and 2.1. So you have a 2.1 pick. That's really hard to use that on Kyler or Lamar when you can get Lance in 10. Because you got to really break it down. As good as Lamar and Kyler are as a second round keeper, you literally have a guy that could hang with them all year or even outscore him in Trey Lance. So give me the 2.1 and Trey Lance versus just the Lamar Jackson or Kyler. So Kyler and Lamar, you throw them out. They're not even a consideration. And Debo in round 8's great. I like that. I don't mind that at all. But give me Trey Lance in 10 and let me redraft Debo and guys like that. So I go Trey Lance. Pretty easy call in a super flex if you ask me, because that's a deep. You're getting all your picks. You're getting to keep all of those picks, bro. On top of having Trey Lance. Trey Lance is almost free. That's almost free. I do like Debo in the 8th though. I do like it, and a lot of people in here saying Debo Lance. So it probably is definitely down to Debo and Lance. I mean, Najee you'll draft in the second round anyway. So the way that Superflex works. So. It's Debo or Trey Lance. I go Trey Lance because he's technically a top 12 pick, and you get him around 10. And Debo's not a top 12 pick. Like, in a sense, think about it this way. There's no way Debo Samuel goes before Trey Lance in a super flex. So why would you keep him when the value isn't even the same. Like Trey Lance is better keeper value. So for me, it's Trey Lance. I mean, you don't draft Debo over Trey Lance in a super flex. You just don't. So that's the way I look at it. But, you know, Debo's a great value. He's a great player to have in round 8, regardless. Still get Debo at 1.12 and 2.1. Yeah, I love Debo at 2.1. I'm fine with it. Trey should produce first-round value in Superflex for years, says Hot Prime. Yeah, and you got the keeper aspect of it. Like, Debo in a keeper is not as valuable as Lance in a keeper because of that keeper potential. Noah, sorry it took me so long to answer that question. I appreciate you waiting for it, and I always hate when I make a super chatter wait because then they're like, oh, I want you to still super chat, so I apologize for that. Thank you, Noah. Noah, are you new, Noah? That dialed in, or is this? I know you. Noah Sarver is not new though, so that couldn't be new, Noah. Those are the two I was debating. Thank you, sir. No problem, Noah. Appreciate you. Legion says go Najee, but I don't think you can, man. Najee is not comparable in terms of the keeper value. Always lurking. Appreciate you. I'm not new, Noah. We got a lot of Noahs in here all the time. Noah's become a popular name. Everybody's mother's naming their kids Noah these days is coming full circle. It's coming. About 25 to 30 years ago, mothers everywhere named their children Noah, apparently. And they're coming around. They're coming around. It's starting to show. What else we got here? Trey Lance to the moon. I mean, he is a moon man.
The moon men, dropping loads in outer space.
Space Monsters.
Space Monsters, baby. Only met about 4 to 5 other Noahs in your life. Wow, I meet him every day. I meet him online every day. I think I'm good. What are we doing? What is today? Tuesday? Taco Tuesday? Taco Tuesday? Do it live. Going to get tacos. We'll go to Torchy's and get Torchy's tacos tonight. I'm excited. Taco Tuesday, baby. Glad that one Noah is gone, though. That was rough for a few months. Yeah, Noah, the old Noah got real negative, and at some point you're not gonna be here. We're not gonna let you come in and just be a negative downer drag on the show constantly. You know, you want to have a differing opinion, I'm all for it. But, like, you want to come in here and just sit quietly through the good stuff and wait. I'm going to sit quietly through the good stuff. I'm never going to say a positive thing. And then when I see something I disagree with, I'm coming in, hardcore. Like, that's dumb. That's dumb. You're eventually going to be a drag on the show. No one's going to want you here. So there's no reason to be negative all the time. Jupiter has 39 confirmed moons. Wow, Jupiter might need to be... Like, right now, if you're not good, like, if we're worried about you, like Leonard Fournette.
And off he goes to the planet known as Uranus. He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars men. Loads dropping and spinning aimlessly in space.
Mars men, baby. There are only 5 seats to Mars this year.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars men. Loads dropping and spinning aimlessly in space.
We only have... I love how load dropping Mars men, and then as soon as we do that, it triggers some bots to come in. Is that a coincidence? I don't know if that's a coincidence or not. But I think, Smitty, this is new Noah. I changed my display name. Attaboy. New Noah. Appreciate you. There's only 5 spots on the shuttle to Mars. I don't know who's going to get spot 4. I don't know who's going to get spot 5. You're more than welcome to recommend somebody for this shuttle and mission to Mars. But note the bottom right corner. Laps will be given out to anybody that suggests a not noteworthy person. Like if you come in and say Zeke Elliott, then you're going to take a lap. I think not, Smitty. What do you think not? Nerd, what do you think not? What's not about what? Married DC Hogs, what? Bot's keeping me busy. Yeah, Kenny, I'm sorry, bro. Mars men. Bots come in. Something about Mars gets people all frisky. 39 moons confirmed for Jupiter. Maybe we need to make Jupiter space monsters. I don't know. We'll figure out something with Jupiter. We'll circle Jupiter into this mug. We'll circle him in. Jamar Chase might be a Mars man. I mean, yeah, 15 to 18 TDs is going to confirm that. Convince me to draft Kyle Pitts in the 4th round. I don't need to convince you. All I got to do is say this, Kilpatrick. Do you like winning? I mean, end of round 4 is better than top of round 4. I will say that. Like, if you could draft him even in the top of 5, like, you're hitting a home run with Kyle Pitts. But I like Kyle Pitts in 4. I'm okay with that. I don't like him in 3, but I like a little Kyle Pitts in round 4. I do. I build teams with Kyle Pitts in 4. I feel pretty good about him. So, I worry about touchdown production. I don't know that he can get to like 14 touchdowns in his current environment, but maybe Ritter proves us wrong. We'll see. This one's from Terry.
Smitty, who are you really excited about this season for a really, really late pickup?
Really, really late pickup. So, Kilpatrick, I don't need to convince you, pal. You already know he's good in the 4th round, but there are other players I love in round 4 too, so it's not like he's a lock. It depends on what's going on. Terry, who's my favorite late grab? I like Algier. I like Rashad White. I mean, depends how late you want to talk. Kenny Walker going in 7 or 8 feels like eternity to me. But if we're talking double-digit Freiermuth, we're talking Dawson Knox at tight end, we're talking Tyler Algier, we're talking Damian Pierce, we're talking Rashad White, we're talking Tony Pollard, but that's more like round 7, so that's not that deep. That's like where Kenny Walker's going. Ramondre's like round 7. I'm really torn up about not taking Kenneth Walker over Ramondre and playing with fire. I went with the ADP and I got burned in the Superflex. I love Ramondre. I'm very happy with Ramondre, but I made a calculated guess that we'd get Ramondre and we would get Kenny Walker if I just took Ramondre first, and it backfired. That's the one big mistake that I really regret in my Superflex Expert League, which I happen to have a screenshot of that team, and it is an unbelievable roster, probably one of the best Superflex teams I've drafted in years. And I'll put it on screen here, but it is an unbelievable squad. But I do strongly regret not taking Kenneth Walker when I should have just reached on him. I should have just reached on him. I love Kenneth Walker. It made me really upset. Maybe a lesson is being learned here that I'm not saying to reach on him. I'm afraid to even talk about it because I'm afraid you guys are going to start reaching in the 5th round. I'm just saying when you're toying around with trying to squeeze out another pick and you're preoccupied about that other pick, it can burn you. You can literally be left, okay, now I don't have my guy because I tried to get cute and creative, but my team is still fire. This is a super flex. Who is it? Mr. B? Mr. B came in here and said that I picked Burrow at number 7 and reach for him. Like, what a reach picking Burrow at 7, which Burrow was a steal of the 1st round. Got Burrow in round 1 at pick 7. Then I reverted back to normal non-QB drafting, which is my strategy of choice in Superflex. And then I came in with DeAndre Swift in round 2, who technically qualifies as a non-Superflex round 1 player. Javonte in round 3, which is kind of my round 2, right? With my mentality of Burrow being round 0 and then going into normal mode. So Swift in round 2, which was my round 1. Javonte in round 3, which was my round 2 in my mind. Tyreek Hill in round 4, which is really round 3, which is really a second drafted player. And then Kyle Pitts, St. Brown, Stevenson, Ayuk. And then my Superflex quarterbacks are a rotation of Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence. But this team is so unbelievably amazing. Unbelievable. Like, I love this squad, but if I just hit Kenny Walker, I shouldn't have played around with it, but I'm still so happy with this team. And Kyle Pitts. I mean, Kyle Pitts is a phenomenal addition to this squad. The balance I have, the St. Brown sleeper value that I got in St. Brown. This team's going to fire. Ayuk going to blow up. Trevor Lawrence, I think, is going to have a very underrated year. Guys, Trevor Lawrence is a really, really good second quarterback at Superflex. I really like the idea of Trevor Lawrence in 2022. I think he's going to surprise some people. Everybody has a little bit of a bad taste left in their mouth, a recency bias. What have you done for me lately? What have you not done for me lately? And Trevor Lawrence with Urban Meyer and that situation, we knew it could be a reset year, and it was just that. Ignore it. Ignore it. Don't judge Trevor Lawrence for what happened with Urban Meyer, okay? Give him a clean slate because this kid's a really special quarterback. He's got top 6 to 10 fantasy football quarterback potential. I'm not saying he's a lock. I'm not saying draft him there. I'm not saying any of that. I'm not saying anything of the sort. But I'm definitely telling you that Trevor Lawrence has the potential to become the law dog that we all thought he could be walking into his rookie year. Don't let year one cloud your judgment. He's a great second quarterback in Superflex. Vamp with a super chat. I may have missed it at some point, but how are you feeling about Christian Watson's situation with the injury? Christian Watson, let's look up his health right now. Watson, I'm not too concerned about right now. Christian Watson, I think, has a really, really good situation long term, but I do believe Lazard is the man. I don't believe Lazard is going to be overtaken early on. Christian Watson at some point will. What was Watson's small injury or whatever? What was it? I don't even know that he's even being listed much or talked about much. I'm not concerned about Watson being hurt, if that's what you're asking. I'm not worried about that, but I think Lazard will be the number one. You're live on the Fantasy Football Show. Who am I talking to?
Hey, what's up, Smitty? It's Mike. How you doing?
What's up, Mike?
Hey, man. I'm actually needing some advice. I'm a big Javonte truther, just like you. And I believe he's going to do great this year. But I'm kind of at a pickle right now. I'm either going to be choosing him or CeeDee Lamb as my second. But this is a 32-team league, and it's only a 1 RB. So I'm leaning Javonte, but I kind of wanted to get your opinion before I make the final pick.
How many wide receivers?
This is only going to be 2 wide receivers, 2 flex, 1 tight end.
Okay, so one running back is different than one running back with 2 flex options. So I don't really prescribe to the old, okay, I'm going to go 1 running back then. I kind of look at it like best player available still. There's no kind of influence with that. You only have to start 2 wide receivers. So the pressure is not on to lean in any one direction. I go back to best player available for you. And I'd say, you said Javonte, CeeDee Lamb, and who?
It's right now, Javonte is the second. I mean, he's right on top. So he's the next one to pick. Then right below him, CeeDee Lamb. And then there's like Nick Chubb and, Breece Hall and stuff like that. But, I mean, I kind of, that's where I'm trying to choose between Breece Hall, Javonte, and CeeDee, because I think that they're all great. And they're all, moon men, like you're saying. And I feel that right now Javonte is more on. I'm leaning towards him a little more. But it's either him or CeeDee for me.
Can you, when's your next pick?
Right now.
No, after this pick.
64 picks later.
Oof. 64 picks later?
Yeah, 32-team league. So it's a pretty big one. I'm not going to get another pick for 64 picks.
This is tough, and it's a keeper or dynasty.
No, redraft.
Redraft.
Yep, redraft league.
That's tough because Lamb's gonna be more. Lamb has a potential to be more impact in week 1. Look, Gordon could take a little bit of work from him in the first couple weeks, and if it's redraft, and you have to wait that long for a wide receiver. But you got to wait that long for a running back too. I'm gonna say Javonte, man. I'm gonna say put your balls on the line, and just say look, could Melvin Gordon be in the way? Sure, but I don't know, bro. I just don't see how this man Javonte Williams is kept off the field. I just don't see it. It's like looking backwards and saying that Nyheim Hines was gonna keep JT off the field. People were fearful of it, man. And this is a different regime. I'd say that Lamb's safer. I would say Lamb's safer, okay. But if you want to put your cojones on the table and let everybody relish in your glory, if you're right, then Javonte's the call because he could be the top 2 running. He could be a top 2 overall player.
Oh, well, you know me, Vinny. I'm always gonna. I mean, you know me, City. I'm always gonna put my money where my mouth is, and I'm gonna have to double down and say Javonte then because I feel it in my gut. Javonte season, just like you said.
Yeah. All right, man. Appreciate you.
All right, man. Thank you. I appreciate your help.
Yeah, later. Tomato, tomato. I mean, it's preference. I love that people are taking hard stances on it. Like, you have to get, like, it's close. It's close, man. Vamp, I want to say, Vamp, I didn't really answer this question very thoroughly, and appreciate your super chat, by the way.
Thanks for the super chat. Giddy up.
Appreciate you, Vampy. I'm just not excited about Watson right yet. I think I could be. Very quickly I could get excited about Watson, but I'm not, like, amped up about him yet. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not super, super pumped. Matt, appreciate your super chat. You didn't ask a question in it, but I will go looking for you and see if you did. Let's see here. Matt says, here we go. Matt says ETN or Breece Hall. Thank you, Matt, for that super chat. Hopefully you're still here, and I try and take care of my people, and I knew you probably wanted to ask a question with that. ETN or Breece, give me Breece Hall in redraft or dynasty, but I love them both a ton, and I'm very, very close to saying even, you know. So do I love both of them? If you could draft both of them, yeah. Breece Hall is going higher and higher every day, so I probably lean Breece Hall because it gives you a better chance of maybe landing both, but ETN's climbing too. But give me Breece Hall. Give me Breece Hall, broski. I love him. I love him. You guys don't adjust to rookie seasons? Who doesn't? I mean, Javonte did pretty well in his first season. He did, Prime. Give me ETN. I'm here for it. I mean, look. What do you see when I press this button? What do you see?
The Moon Men dropping loads in outer space.
You see both ETN and Breece Hall.
Space Monsters.
And then what do you see? Who do you see going to Mars?
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars Men.
I mean, I don't know if maybe ETN gets a seat on that shuttle too. He could, but Breece Hall is on both of them. So I got to lean Breece. I got to go with my gut on that, right? We're going to probably put Kenny Walker as a moon man. I don't know if he's going to Mars because of the potential delay in his spacecraft leaving Earth's atmosphere and getting to Mars, but Kenny Walker will definitely be a Mars man a moon man at some point. Mars man, I don't know. We'll have to kind of play it by ear, but I'm loving Kenny Walker, and I love that people hate him. I love that people think Kenny Walker isn't going to rise up. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm talking about, Jimmy. I'm not super excited about Watson right now because Lazard is the number 1 wide receiver. He is. He just is. Whether you want to believe it or not, I mean, Rodgers has already talked about it. He's stepping into a wide receiver 1 role. It's a lot to take on, but he talked about it as if he's the wide receiver 1. And I think he is. Swift could be a Mars man. ETN could be going to Mars. CD could be going to Mars. Are we sleeping too much on KC wide receivers? I don't think so, bro, because we have no idea what we're looking at. You know, probably Sky Moore is the only guy I'm going near. I'm not going near Juju. I had somebody give me a keeper question. I don't know if it was on here or on the text line, which you can get at thefantasyfootballshow.com, by the way. Thefantasyfootballshow.com. Get one-on-one text advice, rankings, bold predictions, trade calculators. Thefantasyfootballshow.com. I want to say it might have been in there or in the chat somewhere, but somebody was like, here are the list of keepers. It was like... Poor guy. It was like Javonte round 4, Mahomes round 7, Herbert round 4, Jamar Chase round 3 or 2, Jefferson round 2, and then this poor sop Juju Smith-Schuster round 7. Everybody had a stud in this. Juju Smith-Schuster, round 7. That was his keeper. Everybody had him like a beast, almost a moon man. Everybody was loaded. Everybody was going to the moon. This guy had his keeper as Juju Smith-Schuster. This is going to piss somebody off. Somebody in the chat's going to come in and go, we'll do pretty good this year, Smitty. I mean, come on. I mean, you got to laugh at that. I don't care if you like Juju or not. And don't come in here and defend him in this light, because this is a lot of pressure you're putting on the man. Dude, that Juju Smith-Schuster. As his keeper, bro. As his keeper. Yeah, we're doing mocks tonight, Jimmy. And we're going to do a best ball draft, which you can go on over to the link in the description. Or go to thefantasyfootballshow.com and click this underdog banner at the top of the site. But in the description, I have this link. And Underdog's going to match up to $100 of your first deposit. So if you deposit 80, you get 80. If you deposit 100, you get 100. As long as you're new, as long as you use promo code Smitty, which you have to use, or the link in the description, which will insert the code for you. You must do that in order to get that match deposit. But go do it. Go do Juju.
And off he goes to the planet known as Uranus.
I swear, man. Oh, poor guy. Poor sap. Poor sap. Can you imagine turning in your keepers? How embarrassed you'd be. The best keeper you could cook up is Juju Smith-Schuster in round 7. Or round 7 or 8. And everybody else is dropping Jamars and JJs. And you got to go out. You got to go out and bat. This is a guy that literally, he's always late. You know, you can never get a hold of him. He's drafting with a magazine. He's totally whipped. You could call this guy. $100 says he won't answer the phone. No way you could call this guy. His woman wouldn't let him pick up the phone for the life of him. There's no way he's answering your call. That's the guy that owns Juju Smith-Schuster as a write-in keeper when you have one keeper. That's the guy. There's no guy sitting there. You tell me if this is a guy that looks like a guy that has Juju Smith-Schuster as his 7th round only keeper. Okay? There's a guy sitting in a chair like this, smoking on a cigar. Does he look like the kind of guy that's got Juju Smith-Schuster wrapped in? No. The guy that's got and I've got a child too, and I carry around the diaper bag once in a while. It happens. But this is the guy carrying he's got the diaper backpack on with flowers on it. Dude's got no control over his life whatsoever. This is the man that's drafting Juju Smith-Schuster. He's the guy coming in late to the draft. He's the last one there. He's the first guy to leave. He orders a salad. He doesn't even eat the wings that are on the table. This dude barely shows up. He just sits in the corner with his magazine. Where are we at? Juju is a flex at best. True. I'm not even into Juju as a flex at all, as you can tell. All right, I'm out of here. Appreciate all of you listening to the show, watching the show. Appreciate Tony at the top of the show. If you came in late, you missed a heck of a first 40 minutes where we had Tony, the attorney, on. We were grilling him on Deshaun Watson. What are the odds that he's out of the woods? There's definitely some concern on Tony's part, but on the flip side, Kamara, and he's guessing and speculating that there probably isn't enough time for any sort of trial to take place. You're live on the Fantasy Football Show. You have 26 seconds before you get hung up on. What can I do for you?
Hey, Smitty, it's Freddie.
What's up, Freddie?
Hey, I just had a question. Who do you think is going to do a lot better this year, Swift or Najee?
Swift or Najee? Let me give you an extension here.
Additional 2 minutes.
I mean, honestly, I think Swift could be as good, but I'm going to draft Najee over him every time. Najee's got the volume. Najee proved last year in a worse scenario, worse situation. He's got an improved situation. Everyone's going to try and clown on Trubisky, which I also do. But you got Trubisky and Pickett to choose from if one's like crappy and playing horrible. And Trubisky's got a little bit to prove. You've got an extra wide receiver to kind of help, balance things out. You've got Freiermuth coming into his own. You've got a little bit of an improved offensive line. You've got a great head coach. You've got a defense. There's a potential for Najee to get like 4.4 yards per carry instead of like 4. So less carries would even result in the same production in that case. So I'm pretty high on Najee, but that said, it would not shock me one single bit if Swift finishes the number 2 or number 3 running back in fantasy football 2022. It wouldn't surprise me if either one finished number 2.
Yeah, I'm trying to work a deal, and it's either Swift or Najee, but I don't know if the guy would budge, but, I'm trying to get either one of them to.
Show extended additional 2 minutes.
Yeah. Ron Navy, appreciate extending the show another 2 minutes there, Ron. All right, Freddie, anything else?
No, that's it.
Yeah, Swift or Najee, can't go wrong either way. I don't know that I give up a ton either way because I love both of them. So I'm not giving up a ton. I probably would do a swap out if it gave me something significant and I'd go in either direction, but I'm thinking they're pretty close. Swift's got a lot lower first round ADP to me, but you know what? Yeah. I think those are evening out. I think Najee's fallen to like number 7 overall. Swift's going like 7, 8, 9. So they're pretty close. All right, man. Appreciate you. Later.
Thank you. Yep, bye-bye.
I guess I should reword that. I don't think the ADPs are close anymore. I mean, in my mind they are when I think about it, and then you realize people are just down on Najee right now. The Milky Way,
Show
man.
ends in 1 minute.
We're gonna have endless spacemen expeditions. The Milky Way men. I don't know about that one, but we might have to go that route. I don't know. We might run out of places to place everybody, but we got a lot of planets to go. The black hole where the players go to just vanish. The Milky Way. I mean, I don't know. We'll explore it. We'll explore it, broski. All right, guys. 17 seconds left. Thanks to Ron for extending the show. Ron, I appreciate everything you do. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for being the trigger man, Ron, that you are. Thank you, Kenny and Terry, for manning the chat and being the best mods. And Terry and Silver, appreciate you. Terry, Silver, Vamp, Kenny, all you guys. Ron, Legion, and I will see you. Ronaldo, appreciate you all. I will see you all tomorrow unless news breaks. Because why? Your boy Smitty goes live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, or whenever news breaks, which means you might see me tomorrow morning in my bathrobe. I'll see you later.
Show extended additional 2 minutes.
Or not. Ron Navy says, wait a minute. The Ron Father. That's pretty good. I like that one. Triggerman Ron's good because he triggers like super chatting a lot. That's kind of why. But I like the Ron Father. That's pretty good. What's up, Space Ricky? Don't ever leave. This is like a Marvel movie. Don't ever leave before the credits are completely gone and you know what's on the other side, because we might be back. Silver, appreciate you. Kayla, appreciate you. Kenny, Vamp, Terry. That was a great show today. I mean, I loved getting unbiased perspective. I owe you 2 minutes. Let's reset this 2-minute timer.
Show extended additional 2 minutes.
Sorry, Ron. I like getting an unbiased perspective on the Kamara situation, because maybe Tony the attorney is correct. Maybe no matter what we think is going to happen, that but I did kind of push back on him And I think he kind of agreed with my assessment that it doesn't necessarily need to conclude. If he goes into a trial, and the trial can start before week 15, week 14, week 13, he will be placed, in my opinion, on the exempt list and get paid leave to go take care of this trial. So I think there's still concern for me drafting Kamara in round 2. Would I take him in at least one league in round 3, anywhere in round 3? Probably would, but I do worry about a trial in the middle of the year, even if it begins like week 10. It can't conclude like Tony said. It can't conclude. It can't conclude before the end of the season, but it can certainly begin, and that's where the concern would lie. Super Ron the man. Hi Ho Silver. I like that one. Kenny is our anchor, so that's fitting. I miss Tony. I'm waiting for this to end so I can rewatch it. Andrew, you're going to enjoy it. It's a lot of good content. Tony, first of all, Tony's a really smart dude. Tony is our in-house counsel, and so to speak. And dude is knowledgeable. So knowledgeable. And he knows what he's talking about. So.
Show ends in 10 seconds.
Vamp extending the show.
Show extended additional 2 minutes.
Thank you, Vampy. Vampy says you're not leaving yet. What's the deadliest QB wide receiver stack besides Burrow Chase? Besides Burrow Chase? Let's see here. Let me look at some rankings and kind of refresh my memory here, because I don't want to miss anybody. It's so easy to be like off the top of your head. I mean, Allen Diggs, Herbert and Mike Williams are kind of underrated. You know, I wouldn't put them there. Hurts and A.J. Brown aren't quite there. Debo and Trey. Wilson and Judy are a little bit lower. Brady and Evans are a tiny bit lower. Dak and Lamb are a tiny bit lower. Matthew, Stafford, and Kupp are like at the top of that tiny bit lower group. But just, I'm talking a tiny bit lower. Like, for me, it's Josh. For me, it's Joe Burrow and Chase, Josh Allen and Diggs, and then Trey Lance and Debo.
Show ends in 1 minute.
That would be my ranking. I don't know how anybody feels about that, but that's probably my ranking. So Allen and Diggs, then Trey and Debo, and then you start talking about Stafford and Kupp and those guys. Lance and Debo is pretty sick. If we're gonna go tight end, Mahomes and Kelsey, sure, but we're talking wide receiver. But I mean, you could throw Mahomes and Kelsey in there for sure. Mac Jones and what about Trubisky and Juju from the olden days? What about Mahomes and Juju? Oh my God, I a poor guy with his keeper. I'm not. Look, Sky Moore is the KC wide receiver. I'm sorry, I'm not buying into Juju yet. Vamp, the full moon man. Okay. Cousins and Jefferson, says Ron. Of course, Ron's going to say Cousins and Jefferson. Good question, though, Vamp.
Goodbye.
Appreciate you all. See you tomorrow, unless news breaks. Then I'll be live earlier, but also at 7 p.m. Eastern. Later. Yeah, Terry's right, guys. I've been a little bit behind on this lately, and I plan on trying to catch up too. So if your question's still out there, I might answer it in the next day or so. But I try to answer 99.9% of every question asked in my comments of every video. Not in the live stream. We're talking about the comments. So please, everybody, test me. Go drop a comment after this video posts on YouTube. Ask a question. I will answer 99% of them. Let's roll. People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed. Get lambed.
But Smitty.
Get breached. Get breached. Get breached.